Alrighty then, time for Otto's log number 4. Creating a simple title screen. In the last entry, I found out how to add text to the UI in Unity, Godot, RPG Maker, and GameMaker. However, I noticed that RPG Maker already had a title screen, which put it ahead in development compared to my other projects. So, today, I want to make a title screen for all of them. Nothing too fancy, just something that displays a title and a message that says, press enter to start. I won't even make it register whether the player actually clicks enter. I just want a screen that says to do so. This will allow me to focus on one task and one result. Also, as this is also about manipulating text, creating a title screen will give me transferable skills to use in the rest of the game. Well, might as well get this underway. Alright, so as always, I will start with Unity to see what I'm trying to do looks like before I do it on Godot and GameMaker. So, last time we have our canvas, and our canvas has text. So what we need is title text and the message for what we want the player to do. So let's say, before we manipulate this, since I need two types of text, I can duplicate this text and move one of them along the screen. So I could right click here, or 2-finger click on the Mac and click duplicate. That gives me two types of text, and I can move one down here. Actually, since I have two text, let's rename one. Rename it. Right click on one of them, rename it, and make it title text. Right click on the other one, rename it, call it start game text. Good. Now, I'm going to click on one of these, so it's highlighted. Oops. And then it opens up an inspector over here, where I can manipulate the game object. So if I highlight this new text, I can change it to, let's say, Otto's text adventure. Excellent. That should do it. And with this text, I shall click on it and change it to press enter to start game. Good. Now with that, I can see that this is wrapping, so I can click on this white thing, this box here, and pull it out to stretch this. Then click on it, click on it, and move it and center here. Perfect. Now click on Otto's. Yes, that reminds me. Also, I think that it is not centered. So, over in the inspector, if I scroll down, I should see alignment right here, and I can click on center. Okay, I'm gonna center this. Now for Otto's Text Adventure, same thing. Click on it. Since it's a title, I'm going to find alignment and center it. And lastly, there's a scale at the top, there's a scale icon here. And this link property is turned off. So if I click on this X and drag it, it stretches left and right. If I click on this Y property and drag it, it stretches up and down. This thing is a link that links the X and Y. If I click on it so that it shows a link instead of being crossed out, it'll drag it all uniform. Let's bring it to 2. And put this up here. Add a little distance between my title and my start game text. Oh, right. I nearly forgot. Nope, I just want it where I want it to be. But I can't click on this thing. So here's what I'm gonna do. Perfect. So this position X over here also controls the left and right. So that should be what my screen will look like. So if I go up here and press play, then yes, this will be my title screen. Otto's Text Adventure. Press enter to start game. So now I know what I'm doing, what it looks like, and how it should work. So let's see if I can do the same thing in Godot. Alright, so now we begin with Godot. Now, I realized I made a mistake the last time that I had done Godot. And here's my problem. Here's my label, right? It's supposed to be the equivalent of my text box, right? So, if I try to move it up and down, I get this message that says, children of a container get their position and size determined only by their parent. Which means, because it's a child of this panel container, I cannot move my label. And you would think there'll be some way to change the position on the container so I can change the label position, but there's no way to manipulate this here. Non-theme overrides, nothing. However, in label, if I go to theme overrides and I go to fonts, no, not fonts, font sizes, I can manipulate the size of the text, but I cannot manipulate the position. So here's what I will do instead. What I'll do instead is take my label and move it to the control. And take my panel controller and delete it. That will enable me to, hold on, this panel control, I don't like not being able to see it. I do not know how to change, visibility, visible on, I do not know how to change the color. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the container back. Only so that I can see where my control is. The panel container is not doing anything except just being a different color than everything else. Now with that said, my label, I'm going to move. Okay. Label. Here's the layout. So when I go to control and I click layout, I actually don't know how to do this. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just there we go. There. So I've taken my label and I moved it up a little. I'm also going to duplicate it. If I can find a duplicate option, take that and move it down a little. By the way, I can see an outline of my... I can see this outline on my screen. So that's why I moved it down a certain amount. So here's what's next. I need to resize this. So font size right here. And let's change it to like 20. Nope. Let's just click font size and cool. Go back to text. Edit. Yeah, that'll work. Click this one. Say and also find, where is it? Was it layout? No, it wasn't. It was display text? No. Ah, theme overrides, yes. Font sizes. Raise this up a little. Not that high. Needs to be smaller than 30 it is. Now, if I press play, I'm really starting to miss that black panel. Oh, we'll deal with it later. So, in any case, we have a title. It is just gray and weird, but it is what we wanted. So, mission success. I accept this. Alright. Now, finally, I can get to GameMaker. The most difficult one of all. So, I remember last time that I created an object called a text controller that was supposed to handle all of my game's text. And I realized that I don't need a text controller anymore. Well, it's not that I don't need a text controller. I created a DS map because I was storing information in that map so I could call it text. But I realized I don't need to do that because when I draw text, I could just instead of referencing a DS map, just what's going on here? Just, I want to show this text. And if I do that and press play, I want to show this text. So what happens is, whatever text or string is written here is what will show when you write draw text. The reason we used dsmap before is because it contained a reference to a string, but we could just put in a string directly, so that's what I'm going to do. So what is next? Now I need to change the size of my text. Unfortunately, there is no way to do that directly, so I need to create a font in order to do so. Therefore, what I need is draw set font, I think it's called. No, add font, I think it is called. Let me look at my notes. Font add. So font add will allow me to create a font. And I want the font type to be Arial. And the size to be, I don't know, 35. I don't know what the rest of these values are, but okay. What is this? So the first thing is the name of the font. I want a size of 35 pixel, bold, no, italics, no. First, the first character to include. If you're unsure, go for 32. The last character to include. If you're unsure, go for 128. I'm unsure, go for 128. Now, what I should be able to do is draw set font. Let's name this title font. And that should do it. Let's see what happens if we press play. Nothing. Sure, that would work. Look at my notes again. Still nothing. I'm gonna find out what's wrong with this. Whew. Okay, I am back. So, I have figured it out. ChatGPT failed me. The notes I had from it did not work. And Google did not help either. But I know what I must do. First, remember these things that we used to create the DS map and the other thing? We don't need these anymore. So let's delete this event. And delete the cleanup event. Because there's no object. Since we're not creating an object, we don't need to delete anything. And see this title font? We're going to delete that as well. Why? Because we're going to create this title font somewhere else. So here's what I will do. Over here in the asset browser, there's something called fonts. Right click on it, create. There's a font. Wait, is it an object? Create fonts, there it is. Fonts will be called title font. Will be called title font. The font will be Arial, group, there is no group. And the size will be like 50? 40. Yes. And that should do it. I can close this, it's already created. Go back to my text controller, and inside draw, change the text to something like Auto's GameMaker Adventure. Now, when we press play. And that is how you change the text. Now let's see if I can raise the height a little bit by changing the Y to 200. Good, good. That works perfectly. Now, I want to also draw some more text. That says, press enter to start. Uh-oh, that's a problem. The press enter to start is also very big. We cannot have that. Okay, so let's create a new font. Call it Start Game Font at, let's put it at like 20 pixels. Go back to my text controller, which I might as well rename to title text. Title screen object. And so what happens is these draw set fonts will set the font for everything that goes after. So I need to override the last font by now going to the Start Game font. There, that should do it. The Y is too close for me, so let's put it at -200. I hope that works. It might crash. Oh, so this was 100, and now my text is up here. That would mean that 0 is up here, and it's going upwards as it goes down. So if I want this below Otto's GameMaker Adventure, I need this to be a high number. $500 was too much. $300 was too little. Perfect. So now we have learned how to edit the size of text by creating fonts in GameMaker. Alright, that took longer than expected. Perhaps I should do a summary of everything I have learned. So, for Unity, to create a title screen, first one must create a canvas by right-clicking in the screen, hovering over the UI, then selecting Text Mesh Pro. Next, duplicate the text box that appears inside the canvas. You can click on the text box itself and drag it to any position you want. Also, when you select a text box, the inspector will display everything necessary regarding the text: position, rotation, scale, alignment, bold, italics, etc. All you need to do is find it. Use any of these values to change the text as you see fit. For Godot, the control node is for all UI. Right-click on the control node and add a label. You can click on the label within the game screen to position it wherever you want. There are also values for bold, italics, alignment, and position within the inspector here somewhere. However, it is not as user-friendly as Unity's inspector, so you'll have to find it. For example, the option to scale your text is under Theme Overrides. Now lastly, for GameMaker, first you go to the Fonts folder and create font objects for whatever fonts you want to use within your title screen. Next, you go to the Objects folder and create a game object. Call it something like title screen or something. Doing this will take you directly to the object so you can edit it. Instead, go back to the rooms. Click on a room, click on the game object, and drag that game object, like your title screen, into the room. This is just so that a person new to GameMaker understands that the room itself is the game screen, and the game object must be in the screen to be seen. Now, go back to the game object by clicking on the game object and add an event that is a draw event. Inside that event, choose which font you want to use by typing the draw set font function. Then, use the draw text function to draw the text. Give it an X position and a Y position. You can just use the letters X and Y to use the same position as the game object. Then, type the message you want the game object to display. Now, your text will be off the screen if you try to give negative numbers, because the 0, 0 coordinates are not in the middle of the screen. But that is alright because the coordinates 0, 0 are positioned at the top left corner of the screen. So, the higher the X value, the more right your object goes. The higher the Y values, the more down it goes. I recommend creating a variable that retrieves the total pixels on the X-axis and a variable that retrieves the total pixels on the Y-axis, and then use math to position your text however you want. By the way, the create event is used to initialize variables. So go to add event, select create, and then put your new variables there. And then you can use them in the draw event. Also, the draw set font function sets the font for all subsequent text that is drawn within your code. So if you want to draw text in a different font, you must override the old font by using a new draw set font function. Next time, I will find out how to do the steps correctly before I hit record. Anyway, speaking of next time, in order to get my player to activate the game from the title screen, I must learn how to register user actions like button clicks. Whether I will do that and try to do a scene change, I will find out next time.